That's a fitting introduction for our next guest, Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. You can always follow him on Twitter at Paramount Sports. Top of the morning to you, Lee. You're looking good. How are you?
Feeling good. Everything's great here in South Florida. Dolphins win their first game and looked good last night. Gut check time. The Miami Heat, one game away from facing LeBron. How great will that be? And then even the Marlins right now, if it ends tomorrow or today, they're going to be in the playoffs. So, 2 years ago, all our teams looked terrible. The Dolphins, worst of the worst. The Heat looked like they were totally rebuilding. They didn't make the playoffs last year. And the Dolphins, it looked bad.
And the Dolphins looked pretty good last night. Yeah, we joked about it yesterday, Lee. And I know you're a Miami guy, but the Lightning are now 2 wins away from a title. Yeah, the Heat are 5 wins away from a title. The Rays are 13 wins away from a title. And we think the Marlins, by winning last night, I think one more gets them in the playoffs. So they're 14 wins away from a title. It is the title state right now. And, we just don't know how many wins UCF is away from a title. I'm joking there. Let's start. The first game you had, the FA-USF game we were going to do is canceled. So let's go to the Gators, 14.5. They're taking on the Fighting Kiffins. We're fired up. We got a Kiffin. We got a Leach in the SEC. It certainly makes things more interesting. But the Gators are a team with a lot of expectations, Lee. David has them winning the East. It's Georgia's, in my opinion, until proven otherwise. But this is one of those games we're going to find out a little bit. How much are we going to find out about the Gators?
Yeah, and I still don't think Ole Miss is great, but I think they're going to be much improved. They were so one-dimensional last year. They ran for 5.4 yards per carry. They only threw a combined between the two quarterbacks, Corral and John Rise Plumlee, which are both, competent quarterbacks, combined 10 touchdown passes. The problem here is they got to face a Florida defense that stops the run, only giving up 3.2 yards per carry. They are stout up front. But I have a feeling here that we're going to see Lane Kiffin be able to improve this passing game. They do have their top running back coming back, their top 3 receivers. You saw what he did at FAU. They were light and they're head and shoulders above anyone as far as sophistication and running an offense in that conference. Florida does return Kyle Trask, but they lost their top running back and also 2 of their top 3 receivers. So except for Tennessee Martin and Vanderbilt, they didn't score above 40. Do you really want to lay 2+ touchdowns on the road? I don't. I think they'll win this game, something like 36-30. I'm taking Ole Miss here on the points.
Now, in some places, it's 14.5. In some places, it's been bet down just under that magic 14 number. It's 13.5 in some places. So look carefully depending on which way you want to go. LSU, Mississippi State, and Baton Rouge. If Kiffin's at Ole Miss, Mike Leach is in Starkville at Mississippi State. Do they have anything for the defending national champions who bear no resemblance to that team from a year ago because half the team is gone?
Right. Graduated, went in the NFL draft. Jamar Chase already opted out. So they have a new quarterback. They are playing at home, but they're going up against an unusual defense. And it's not just a 3-3-5. They come at you from all different angles, and it's led by Zach Arnett. Well, you're saying, who is Zach Arnett? Comes from San Diego State. He's a Rocky Long disciple. So they throw sometimes from 3 high safeties at you. Any one of the 3 can blitz. I think it's going to give Brennan some problems here for LSU for a while. Now, in the game last year, LSU was only up by 2 points going into the fourth quarter. They did pull away and win 36-13, but they were also +3 in turnover ratio. We're going to refer to Mike Leach for the rest of the season, not as Mike Leach, just call him the Pirate.
There we go.
Pirate, this is where he does his best work. He's not a good favorite, but 14-6 against the spread the last 5 years at Washington State. His quarterback may not be healthy for long. KJ Costello, who comes over as a grad transfer from Stanford, one of the best 15 quarterbacks in the country when he's healthy. So I think they're going to be able to score enough. I have LSU winning the game 37-23, but I think Mississippi State covers the 16.5, 17 points here.
All right, let's go to the game, the one you're most interested in. And it is, this is the one weird thing about college football. It's Miami FSU week, and it doesn't have the same feel. There'll be a few fans there, but damn it, if you're a student, you can't go. Fortunately, your daughter's graduated. She can go to the game. If she was still there, maybe as a cheerleader, she'd get on, but not as a student. You can pay $40,000 a year to go to the University of Miami, but damn it, you can't go to a football game. It is hypocrisy at the largest level. I would lay the number because I think this game, Lee, if it wasn't Florida State against Miami, the line would be somewhere between 14.5 and 17. I think the rivalries brought it down. It's been bet up a couple of points. I think we're sitting at 11 right now.
Right. Well, if you look at history, the visitor 18-4 against the spread, the underdog 16-5 against the spread, and 15 of the last 19 have been decided by a touchdown or less. So that's something. Historical trends, normally you don't even think about it. You bet the underdog and the visitor. But the problems here for Florida State, I don't think James Blackman is comfortable in the offense at all. I think their offense is a total sieve. And I think that Miami, even though they don't have a whole lot of sacks this year, both teams they played this year have gotten rid of the ball really quick. And I think, Florida State doesn't have that kind of offense. I think they're going to get 4 or 5 sacks on Blackman. And when things go bad, you just read his body language. It's not good. Miami has an offense. They have balance. They're scoring 39 points per game. They have a quarterback. They have a kicker, kick 4 field goals, including that 58-yarder. They have a punter that owns an ink shop and you don't want to mess with. He could probably play middle linebacker in a pinch. I think Miami wins this game 35-14.
2 Sundays we go, and actually this game will take place on Monday, arguably the game of the week. Could be the regular season game of the year for that matter, and a preview of the AFC Championship game. Baltimore's at home. If you like to play Patrick Mahomes, Lee, you're getting him and 3.5 points, and that's not going to happen very often.
No, might not happen more than once or twice in the next decade. But they won the Super Bowl, and they were the best team last year. But we're not betting last year. We're betting right now. And right now, Kansas City is not the best team. The blueprint was laid out last week by the Chargers. Control the clock, keep him off the field. And you know what? He presses a little bit. We saw him press last week. Now, just like the Super Bowl, he regained his confidence. He was able to lead his team down. He doesn't, not a whole lot bothers this kid, but the blueprint is to run the football, and Baltimore ran for 230 yards last week on a decent Houston Texans front seven. They've run for at least 100 yards in 18 straight games. That's the most right now in the NFL, an longest active streak. And how good has Lamar Jackson been the last 9 games in the regular season? 28 touchdowns and just 1 interception. I think in a shootout, Baltimore wins 41-34.
Boy, I just hope you're right.
Yeah.
Because that would be one hell of a game. Tampa, Brady showed, and you probably have the numbers of what Brady's record is coming off of a loss, and we all know that they're pretty damn good, and his performances are pretty damn good. Plus, they had Carolina. So everything worked out really well for Tom Brady. Now they go to Denver. Denver's got a backup quarterback in Driscoll, but they do have a pretty solid defense. And the offensive line not there yet for Tampa. How do you see this? Because 6 is a reasonably big number on the road.
It is, but I just don't think Jeff Driscoll's good enough. I mean, you forgot about him when he showed up in Cincinnati. You're like, when he started playing a lot, you're like, okay, didn't do very well. He has a propensity to turn the ball over. And on top of that, Cortland Sutton is gone. Their big play guy. Chris Godwin will be back. That's big. And I think, trust me, I think Brady and I also think Gronk have hatched up a plan. And I think when you poke the bear, I think that they're going to get him involved in the game plan here. They've got some really good tight ends. They got to utilize him even more here. I think they're going to attack, maybe do some hurry up here. And I just don't think that Denver can keep up. I got Tampa Bay 31-21 this game.
All right, your game of the week is the Sunday nighter.
Yep.
Drew Brees and the Saints are 3-point home favorites against the red hot, offensively anyway, Green Bay Packers.
Should be a great matchup. I mean, normally this would be the game of the week, but we have Baltimore and Kansas City, but also have like the Rams and Buffalo, 2 undefeated teams. Great schedule. You want to get that game for free. And I'll also give anyone who calls also the Heat game tonight against Boston, game 5. Just call 800-400-9741. We hit our big 40 to 50 unit play last week on Central Florida. Got another one. Rarely do we have them back-to-back weeks. So if anyone wants to hop on board, normally you have to be a monthly or season subscriber. I know if I win for someone, they're going to come back. So I'm going to give them that game and everything I've got in football. I'm going to give them the NBA for the next week and also UFC, where we're on a 13-3 run here. We've won 17 of the 20 UFC cards. I have a 50-unit UFC parlay. Everything, just $97. It's available right now. ParamountSports.com.
800-400-9741, ParamountSports.com to review. Take the 2 Mississippi schools with the points. They're getting 14 and 16 and a half. Lay the points with the Canes, lay the points with the Ravens, lay the points with the Bucks. Game of the week is Saints and the Packers. Lee with a winning week last week. Lee's 2-0 on his games of the week. Lee hit his 45-unit play last week, and he's got another big day this week. ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. Lee, all the best. Enjoy the Canes and the Knowles.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.
Lee Sterling, kind enough to join us in our Twitch broadcast.
Yeah, you want to get a bonus. You want to get a bonus. Lee gave away a free one in the Twitch room. I had to stop him because he thought it was just us talking. I'm like, Lee, there's a lot of people here at the commercial break. So there's another reason. He gave away a big play for free. And all the Twitch people said, we'll keep it between us. It's our little secret. Lee made his picks. That means, David, it is time for us to make ours.
The greatness that is continues.
It's kind of like watching your mother-in-law go off a cliff in a Cadillac. You know, you got mixed feelings.
It's a tradition that continues year after year.
I got a short memory, just like when I was in the 3rd grade. 2 of the best years of my life.
Here are Miller and Moulton's fantastic 5 picks.
Everybody expects you to win. My wife couldn't go to church with me on Sunday, and everybody said, "Where is she?" I said, "She doesn't go out with losers."
Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
Now, we've had a couple weeks of picking games, and we've also thrown in a few picks in and around it. You add it all up, I'm 9-6 on the season. Mark is 8-7-1. Both coming off losing our picks last night. I lost on an over-under. Mark lost on the Jags -3. So we regroup.
Can't count the winners on Thursday if we're not going to count the losers.
Exactly.
That's the. I mean, we both got a basketball game win in there, so we've got to take last night's loss.
That's right. We both had the Heat and the 3 in game 4. Mark, I agree with Lee, and you know I'm a big trends guy, but I'm laying the points with the Canes. And the reason is I think their tempo will force enough possessions in this game. I don't see Florida State's ability to hold on to the ball. And while I think Florida State defensively can hang for a while, I think they get worn out because they'll have some 3-and-outs, and the Canes tempo will wear that defense down. Even in the Georgia Tech game, which was lower scoring, Georgia Tech averaged almost 6 yards a play. It was the 3 turnovers and the block kicks that kept the score down.
You're kind of looking at the opposite of the backdoor cover. This is more of maybe a tight game, and late you see the Canes taking from a 7-point game to 14 or whatever the case may be, just because they're just going to be stronger at that point.
Yes, and so I'm laying the 11 with the Canes. I'm laying 18 with Texas, and I hate betting Texas because let's face it, along with the Canes, it's tough to find a big-name school who's disappointed more in the last 10 years, quite frankly. Just when you think they're good, well, they channel themselves. Remember, it was Clemsoning we might be able to call it Texasing.
No doubt. That's a great call, David.
But I don't think Texas Tech is good at all. In fact, they barely beat Houston Baptist at home by 2. They had to hold off a 2-point conversion late against Houston Baptist.
And David, since then, their best player was arrested.
Correct.
They're starting running backs out. So you're going to hear this game again.
I'm taking Texas and laying the 18. I think they should take the Red Raiders out back in Lubbock. I'm getting the points with Arkansas. It's tough for me to imagine Georgia with a new quarterback, 4 new offensive linemen, new receivers, new running backs is going to hit the ground running offensively. Now, do I think the Razorbacks beat them? Hell no. I think they'll struggle to get much above 17 points. But I don't know that Georgia scores much more than 30-ish, all right, in week 1. And I'm getting 26.5 with the Razorbacks.
And remember, their head coach is Georgia's former offensive line coach. So if somebody's got an idea of what the Dogs are going to do offensively, this is the guy that does. I like this pick, David.
I think Arkansas, if they score a touchdown, might cover this game. Give me the points. Mark, a couple of teams that have served me well on Sunday so far this year, I'm going back to the well. Steelers are only a 4-point favorite at home against Houston. Now, Houston has lost to Baltimore and Kansas City. I mean, it's a legit 0-2. But I think Pittsburgh's, Houston can't defend the run. I think they're going to tease it and actually go over the top. I don't know that they'll be able to cover those wide receivers either. I like Pittsburgh, and I'm only laying 4 against Houston. And, Mark, I don't think Vegas is believing the Arizona Cardinals, and you and I are. And I'm 2-0 on the Arizona Cardinals this year. Well, I'm laying the 5.5 at home against Detroit. Let me get this straight. I think the Cardinals are legit, and they're facing the Lions, who are on the road. I'm only laying 5.5. There you go. Those are my fantastic 5.
Only thing I would say about the Detroit and Houston's game, and I don't disagree with you. My only cause of trepidation and why I didn't have either of those games, and I looked at both, is that you've got to think that Houston and Detroit are as desperate as football teams get.
Well, and quite frankly, and like last night, I mean, we thought the line should have been higher last night. It should have been closer to 5 than 3. And look what happened. Miami straight out. And so to me, these lines should all be 2-3 points bigger. And the fact that they're as small as they are, I could be falling into the trap.
All right. I might be falling into this trap. I loved it at 24.5. I'm taking a gamble on the fact that ECU has not played a football game. When David talks about the Georgia offense, a team that's a top 5 team in the country on everybody's list, and says, hey, their offense week 1 against Arkansas, I don't think they're going to be able to score a bunch of points. I think that's a sensible comment. Well, ECU is one of the bottom 25 teams in football. How's their offense going to work when they haven't been able to practice because of COVID half the damn time? UCF rolls. Their offense looked great against Georgia Tech. Now, there could be a hangover for ECU, but I don't think there's going to be, because UCF knows if they want to play in a New Year's Six bowl, they don't just have to beat teams. They have to throttle teams. Every week, there are expectations for a team that has a chip on their shoulders. I'm going to play the chip. Give me UCF laying a humongous number, 27, against the place where I give all my extra money to, East Carolina University. Give me Liberty and lay the points. I'm sure that's how it was said back in the late 1700s.
Right. That's how I heard Patrick Henry say it.
I mean, Liberty's got a lot going on. They're a lot kinkier than we thought they were. At least the head of the university is.
Hello.
They're playing FIU. They've got a quarterback they can score. It's 7.5. Give me Liberty and lay the points.
Wow, is it really 7.5? Wasn't it like 5.5 at the beginning of the week?
It was.
So other people, I think, are riding your train there.
Right. And I said before, I'm on the Texas train with David Moulton. I've been on the train all week long. Texas Tech is a bad football team that lost their best offensive player. Texas is another team that, until proven otherwise, we just think they're average. I don't think they're going to let their foot off the gas in any game this year. because they want to keep building confidence. Give me Texas. This line should even be higher. Doing something I don't do very often, David. Taking a couple of dogs on Sunday.
Whoa!
A desperation dog is at home getting 3 points. Give me the Kirk Cousins, the Minnesota Vikings +3 against Ryan Tannehill. Tennessee is 2-0. I don't know if they're a legit 2-0. They beat Jacksonville. We just got done watching Jacksonville lose to the Miami Dolphins. This is the season for the Minnesota Vikings. If they lose this game and go 0-3, there's a chance they could be 3 back of both the Bears and the Packers. It is a huge game. Minnesota knows that. They're going to be able to run the football. You're going to see a lot of Dalvin Cook in this game, and you're going to see Thielen get off.
That's
Minnesota +3.
Not bad also because the Titans have won their first 2 games by 2 and by 3. I mean, who knows? Titans might win, but not cover.
And I am going to go to the Sunday night game. No Michael Thomas. If he plays, he's still banged up. I know there's no Devontae Adams, but Green Bay's a better team than New Orleans right now. And the fact that they don't have to play against that crowd, I can't even measure how many points that is right now. It is one of the toughest places to play in the National Football League. And you take those 3 points and throw them out. Aaron Rodgers is playing like a man possessed right now. Give me the Packers on the road +3 against the Saints.
So we only share one pick this week. We're both taking Texas and laying the 18. I'm laying the points with the Canes, getting the points with the Razorbacks against the Dogs. Mark's laying the points with UCF. Hey, take that, Knights fans. You know, Mark Miller, Mr. Anti-UCF, he's laying 27 on you despite all your
You
injuries.
like me now.
Yeah. And give me Liberty and lay the points, as Mark has always said, this week against FIU. I've got the Cardinals and the Steelers laying 5.5 and 4 respectively. Mark's taking a field goal with the Vikings at home and the Packers on the road. Don't forget Lee Sterling's picks at 800-400-9741 or ParamountSports.com. Tell them you heard about them here on Miller and